Obviously, as somebody who never really made Afro beats, but to see as an African, to see it be. I mean, I just talked to somebody last night. Burna Boy was the number one song at Urban Radio, and it got overtaken by Thames.
Right, see?
Which is so fire, right?
Which is so fire, man.
How dope is it just to see Afrobeat be like the new? Just it's kind of like what everyone's doing, even if you're not from like it's just music now. It's not African music,
right.
yeah.
And that was one of
It's
our
pop
biggest
music.
fights.
Yeah.
One of our biggest fights was just introducing it into the world. And then once it was introduced, okay, don't quite generalize it, because I remember when we was first, I remember back when I was trying to shop Wizkid over at Sony, and this was like 2010.
Yeah, people don't know Wizkid's like an OG.
Everybody thought it was, they thought it was reggae music.
Right.
But at that time, it wasn't no information. So you never really knew. But ultimately, it was always a fight. But then when it worked in the UK, it opened up the door. And then when YouTube became super popular, that's what did it. Social media and YouTube is what opened the doors for Afrobeat to actually shine.
Yeah, because YouTube is the biggest platform people consume music on in Africa,
globally.
right? It's there, and I think it's AudioMac is there too, because it doesn't take a lot of bandwidth.
Yeah, AudioMac is there as
It's
well.
huge in Africa. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were fucking with Wizkid in 2010.
Yeah.
Was he signed to you, or were you just helping him out?
I signed him in 2008.
So you signed Wizkid in 08.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, back in 08.
To Con Live or to Convict?
No, that's Convict Africa.
Wow. So how? Well, just explain
So
it,
it's
because
three
now
different
he's a global superstar.
Oh, he's super gone.
So you sign him. Obviously, he was probably buzzing where he's from. Like, how did you guys initially meet?
Yep.
And what ended up happening?
Well, so what happened was when I went to Africa after the World Cup, we were looking for ways that we can take the local music and branch it off.
Right.
So at that time, the local music was so traditional musically that it wouldn't break outside of Nigeria, Ghana, anywhere. Right.
Right.
So we started adding like commercialized music and music, like instruments around it. Like we commercialized a lot of it. So it went from Afrobeat to Afro pop.
Wow.
Basically.
Yeah.
You follow? So once we did that, then we signed Wizkid first. Then after that was another group called P Square.
Okay.
P Square was two twins that came out of Nigeria. They ended up becoming the poster childs of Afrobeat at that time as a group. They were the biggest streaming, selling, all of that. But that was all of us pushing that point forward. As that went more popular, Wizkid as a solo artist just became bigger and bigger because he had the whole fella vibe, like the younger generation swag.
Wow.
So as that started moving, everything else started branching as we went. As we were signing acts and pushing them over, then it was like, okay, now that this is huge in Africa, let's start chopping it and shopping it in America.
Right.
And that's when all the other records started coming about, but we just couldn't get the U.S. labels to catch.
They didn't get it yet. You were ahead of your time.
Yeah, they didn't get it. They didn't get
it. It really kind of took the UK hopping on board. And then I really feel like
played a huge role
when Drake did One Dance, because Drake was so heavily influenced about what was going on in the UK and Afrobeats. But I feel like One Dance made like America okay with the sound. They're like, oh, Drake did. You know what I mean? I feel like labels look at shit in a shallow way like that.
Yeah, the labels probably looked at the success of the One Dance with Drake.
And then
but
Drake was on Wiz's. Yeah.
Drake already knew how big it was. That's why he did it in the first place. Like he already knew what it was.
So what ended up happening with you and Wizkid?
So ultimately, right now, Wiz is no longer signed to us.
Okay.
But we're still affiliates and work all his records internationally along with Sunday.
At what point in time did you guys split on the label side?
10 years after.
Wow.
Like 2018.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
That's not. I think I interviewed him
right
in 2018.
Yeah, right around the corner.
I think he was on my show that year.
If he was in LA, he was the reason why he got here.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
That was his first run in the U.S.
Are you still getting a piece of Wizkid? Pause.
No. No. But the kind of relationship we have with all of our artists, even after they're no longer on the label, we still bring work and we still commission from it. So I always try to keep a relationship to where it's not a boss employee type of relationship. It's always been a partnership.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, there's certain things that we as Convict Music just do better than anybody else. So they always come to us for certain services, and we always be attached to them.